What's going on, you guys? It's your man James, aka JP, back again with the toy room, and I did it. I finally purchased a new Arcade1Up to add to the collection. So that makes 5 in total now, 6 that I've had over, existence. I've owned 6, but I have 5 in total now. I do need to give a quick story and backstory to how I acquired this cabinet, how I found this cabinet, because it is pretty wild. But before that, let's just go over all the cabs that I do have. So behind me, we have Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Then directly behind me, we have the Street Fighter 2 cab, and then we have Final Fight right there. Behind the camera, I have NFL Blitz, and in my baby's nursery, I have the Pac-Man 40th Anniversary 12-in-1 cabinet. I also used to have the Marvel Superheroes cab, but I got rid of it because all the games came on Marvel vs. Capcom 2, so I had no need for that to take up space in my life. Now, the other day, I was going through the thrift store, and this is story time, so bear with me. I'll have the timestamp of when the actual review and reveal starts of this cabinet, but I need to go through the story because I found this cabinet at the thrift store for $10. Yeah, so buckle up. So I'm going through my local thrift store. I go thrifting maybe 1 or 2 times a week at minimum, sometimes 3 times if I'm having a pretty good week. I was perusing around the thrift store and I saw this at the far end of the store, and my first initial reactions were like, I could not believe that there was Arcade1Up in the thrift store. Like, that's number one. And this is not a cabinet that I had any interest in buying whatsoever. Even finding it in the thrift store, I was like, do I really need this cabinet? I didn't need the cabinet. I didn't need to spend the money on it. And so as I'm walking towards the cabinet, just out of curiosity, I just wanted to see how much it was, because this thrift store that I was at, ever since the pandemic in 2020, they've been notorious for charging eBay prices for stuff. So sometimes, like, if there's Mario Kart on the Wii, I've seen them charging $70 for Mario Kart on the Wii, because at the time that's what it was going for on eBay. But as a thrift store, you should not be charging eBay prices. So that's why I was a little skeptical walking towards this. I thought it was going to be at minimum maybe $50, maybe even closer to $100. And my mind was absolutely blown when I saw the sticker, and the sticker said $12.99. So that right there was already cheap enough. $12.99 was crazy. Unfortunately, this did not come with any power cables or anything like that, so I couldn't actually test it out there in the store. And just judging off of appearance, it looked to be in really good shape. There wasn't really anything wrong with it. There was a little like scratch in the plastic on top by the marquee, as well as a couple stickers that the child who owned this placed on the control deck. But other than that, everything else looked absolutely immaculate, which is crazy for something that was owned and played by a child, right? Because I couldn't test it out, I decided, you know what, maybe I'll take a gamble on this. It's $13, it's not going to kill me. So I went up to the register and I asked them, what am I supposed to do if this doesn't work? Because I have no way of powering this up in the store. There's no micro USBs around that I can actually try this out. And they told me, what we'll do for you is we'll mark it down to $10, and if it doesn't work, I'm sorry. And I was like, that's a pretty fair deal. $10, it's cheaper than 13. 13 was already cheap enough, and you're gonna charge me $10. And I was like, you know what, I'll take the gamble at $10. If it works, great. If it doesn't, maybe I can try and fix it or replace the parts or do something with it. But for $10, it's still a great little display piece. So what I picked up is the Arcade1Up Paw Patrol cabinet. Now, this is part of the Arcade1Up Junior line, I believe is the official name of the line. And now that I got that story out of the way, I know that was a little bit long-winded, so bear with me. I do want to do basically a quick review of this cabinet, because as far as I could see, there wasn't anyone who's done like a proper review on YouTube of this cab. So I might be the first one, maybe, fingers crossed. I don't know, don't quote me on that, but this has been out for a little while now. So yeah, we're gonna switch the camera angles. I'll give you guys a close-up of how this cab looks and everything like that. And I just want to go over the games, go over the build quality, and if you guys thought that Arcade1Ups, like the regular ones behind me, were made out of cheap quality materials, wait till you guys see what this is made out of. Because I mean, this is cheap to a whole new level, and they were still charging, like, I think retail on this was like $300, possibly somewhere around there, maybe even like somewhere between $100 to $300, which seems a lot for what this is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the Arcade1Up Junior Paw Patrol arcade cabinet. Alright, you guys, so I had to switch into handheld mode because this cabinet is so short, it's kind of hard to sit next to it and film it. So here we are. If the camera's a little shaky, my apologies, but here is the cabinet, as you can see. And honestly, for what it is, it looks, it looks decent enough, but the build quality on this is, as an adult, it's horrible. Like, everybody that's complained about all of these are high end when you compare it to this. This is made out of the cheapest plastic you can absolutely think of. Now I don't know if this is translating on camera very well, but this whole thing is just super cheap plastic. This is just like a hollow piece of plastic here. Now as an adult, I'm going to complain about it, but looking at it from the perspective as a child, it actually makes a lot of sense. And that's probably the reason that this has held up as well as it did, being owned by a child previously, is because the entire thing is made out of plastic. It's a lot harder to damage, and it's just a lot more durable than these would be if a child got their hands on these. So it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. You have to understand the target audience for this. Yes, this is geared towards kids, so I completely get it, and it actually does make a lot of sense. Now let's take a look at the control panel right here. So ignore these are 2 stickers. I just wanted to show you guys this raw, how it came, how I found it in the thrift store. I'm gonna eventually take these stickers off and clean this up a little bit and take like the price tag off. You guys can see that original $12.99 price tag right there. And I also shot a little clip inside of the thrift store that I'll put in right here, because I know I'm gonna have some people that come on here and think that I'm making this up, but here you go. There is the cabinet inside of the thrift store while I'm waiting in line to purchase it. So here we are right here with the buttons. So you do have the Paw Patrol logo right here, which isn't an actual button, it's just a logo, but it is nice that it's kind of, you know, raised up and it's not like a flat logo or a sticker or anything. And the buttons honestly don't feel terrible. They actually might even feel better than the Gen 1 cabinet buttons, which is actually kind of crazy. But going back and playing those compared to the newer models, yeah, this actually isn't terrible. Now this I am not a big fan of. It just feels really cheap, but I like how big it is. Obviously for a kid, it's gonna make it easy for them to grab, and even as an adult, honestly, it does feel nice to grab. So you can't really complain about that too much, but that is pretty cheaply made. It is just like a cheap hollow piece of plastic, but I do like the size of it. You can see the directions here. It goes in kind of a diamond pattern, 4-way diamond pattern. And you do have the buttons here. Now this is a little confusing. I don't know why they made on to the left and off to the right when all the other cabinets it's the other way around. That would be off and that would be on, so I don't know why they did that, but you do have that. You have the home button here, which is actually, you know, pretty nice. I like how it's like a 3D thing, and then the home button actually pushes in. And then you have the volume here, which is actually like the modern cabinets, where it's like a up and down toggle switch. It's not like a 1, 2, 3 set of volume buttons, so that is pretty nice. And then you have basically your A and B buttons right here. So you have those. These feel a lot more cheap than the actual like start button or the player 1 button. These feel good. I think because these are a little bit oversized, they do feel a lot cheaper. You can actually kind of hear the spring when you push down on it. So those buttons are okay. And then moving down here, let me just bring this into the light. We have a fake coin door, but it is molded, which is pretty nice. So you can see it is not flat, it is 3D, it's not a sticker or anything. So even though it looks kind of funny, the fact that it's like 3D and everything like that, I think that's actually a pretty nice touch that a lot of other cabinets don't have from Arcade1Up. And then looking up over here, you have the bezel around the marquee, and you know, that's just okay, nothing too crazy there. And then you have the actual marquee, and did I say bezel around the marquee? I meant bezel around the screen. And then you have the marquee right over here, and then this is that little nick in the plastic that I was talking about. I don't know if you guys can really make it out, but you do have this little chip right here, which I might just like either sand that down or just try and cut it off or something. But you do have that right there, and that's pretty much the only flaw with the cabinet. The screen, it's a pretty small screen, I'll be honest with you. So it looks big here, but if you actually look, you can see the screen starts right here. So it might be like, if I had to guess, maybe like a, I don't know, 6 or 7 inch screen. It's not a very big screen at all. And coming to the side here, we showed all of that off already, but there's another quick shot. Now this is actually really cool. As we get to the back, this comes with a stool, right? But the stool actually gets stored inside the back of the arcade. Now I thought that was absolutely awesome, and it's actually great engineering and a great use of space, because honestly, if I didn't have the back of this to store it with, I probably wouldn't have anywhere to store this stool. I haven't tried taking it out, so I'm not sure like how it comes in and out. I'm sure you probably just angle it up or something like that. I'll do that off camera with 2 hands. But yeah, the fact that this just stores in here I think is great. And then you can see that this is just powered by a micro USB right there. And I probably will hack this somewhere down the line. Here's the model number. You can see Arcade1Up and all that information right there. So that's pretty cool. And once we come to this side, it is actually a different image on this side, which is a nice little variation right there. So you have some of the other Paw Patrol characters. And then let's go ahead, let me plug this in, get you guys on the tripod, and let's fire this up, and I'll give you guys a quick preview of what all the games are and what they look like and how they run, which it's kind of a mixed bag, so let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so here we are at the main menu. I don't know how well this is coming out on camera. It doesn't look as bad from what I can see on camera. It doesn't look as bad in person. So I think the camera is making it just look a little bit worse. But the screen's not great by any chance of the stretch of the imagination. But it looks decent enough. So I think on camera it's just coming out worse. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. So this is the main menu right here. A lot different than what we've seen from Arcade1Up menus in the past. But we'll just scroll through the games right here. So you can see it's got a bunch of lag, or at least like frame rate drops going through the menu. At least that first initial one that we just did. So the first game you have is Paw Patrol Pups on the Go. The second game you have is Chase is in the Race. And the third game, you saw that slowdown right there, is Paw Patrol Off Duty. So it looks like when you go through the menu initially, you have some slowdown, but then as you go back through it again, you don't have that, which is a little strange. But let's go ahead and just run into the games really quickly. So honestly, these are like super cheap, almost like mobile games that they ported on here. I don't know if they're actually mobile games or not, but they're really, really cheap and extremely basic games. So this game is probably the worst out of all of them. It runs the worst. It is the most boring, but let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So as you can see, just right off the bat, super choppy with the gameplay. I'm just going to zoom in. Super choppy frame rates, and this is the whole game. You just literally drive straight to the end of the level, and that is about it. I think you can also jump, and no, actually I think this game you just go straight the entire time. So it's literally just drive from one end to the other, and even for a child, I just feel like you'd have to be a really, really young child to find this entertaining. I don't know, this is just not the type of games that we played growing up as kids. Like, at least there was a little bit more to the games we played growing up as kids. But that was literally the whole level. Just drive straight through, and I'll go to the next level just to show you guys one more really quickly. But yeah, the loading times on here are not great. The performance is not great on here as well. Like, the games drop frames constantly, especially when starting up, as you guys may have just noticed there. And even just driving, it's very slow, very choppy, and it's mainly this game that plays as bad as it does, which is funny because this is the most simple game out of the three that is included on here. But here you go. So this is literally all you do is just hold right and get to the end as quickly as possible. So I think you guys have seen enough on that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the home button, and then we will go to the second game, Chase is in the Race. This game is a little bit better than the first one. I forget exactly which one this is, but I know the second game was actually kind of entertaining. Yes. So this is almost like a Ridge Racer, like these old school arcade racer type of games, which is actually this one was not bad. This one was kind of entertaining. So let's go ahead and see if I remember how to play. There we go. So that's gas, and then you go left and right. So honestly, I expected this one to have the dropped frames just because you're actually moving kind of quickly, but this one actually plays decent enough. It still drops the frames a little bit, but nowhere near as horrible as that first game. Everything actually moves pretty fluently and pretty quick in this game, and response times are actually really nice. The viewing angle, again, is not great, so I hope this is coming out on camera at least somewhat decent. Just keep that in mind, that the screen is not as bad as it may seem on camera. The screen's actually decent enough in person. But yeah, this is literally just all this game is drive to the end, which is, it's way more entertaining than the last one, because it's actually like you're actually doing something other than just moving in one direction. You're holding the gas, you're going left, you're going right, you're avoiding obstacles. So yeah, this game not bad at all, runs pretty smoothly, but still incredibly basic nonetheless. And then here is the finish line right here. There we go. Okay, so, and I think I just got a high score as well. So, alright, so let's go back to the home menu. Alright, final game, Paw Patrol Off Duty. Oh yeah, so this is actually like a little platforming type of game. Kind of almost like Mario Run, maybe even kind of like Flappy Bird a little bit, just because of you going up and down and, side-scrolling. But if anything, I would kind of compare this to Mario Run, which is also a mobile game. And, this one is actually entertaining enough where I don't find it to be anywhere near as boring as that last one, but that first level was pretty simple. The levels obviously do get harder the further you go into it, but this one actually wasn't terrible. Performance is actually pretty decent. I'll play one more level just because that first level was kind of short, but honestly, this game, not bad. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into the second level. So yeah, these are the type of games that you would just like, especially this one particularly. This is something you would just download on your, oh wow, I just died. This is something that you would download on your phone just to play to kill time. So we'll try and start that over and act like I didn't just lose here, but I am a little distracted trying to film and play at the same time. Alright, let's see if I can redeem myself and at least get to the end of the level on this one and collect all of the bones. And I just died again. Oh, I thought I died. I was about to say, that's embarrassing if I die twice on this children's game. Okay. And I think we should be at the end in a second. Oh man, I jumped early. Oh, I jumped early that time. Okay, anyways, yeah, there you go. Alright, guys, so I decided to film the outro sitting here on the floor because honestly, it's easier to just sit on the floor than to try and set this whole thing up and get this in frame. But there is the Paw Patrol, or Arcade1Up Jr. Paw Patrol arcade cabinet. So honestly, I don't know how to feel about this. It is very cheaply made, and that's to its detriment and to its benefit, because honestly, like, it feels cheap, but it actually holds up really well and is really durable. I like the included storage in the back of the cabinet to add the stool. I think that's honestly just ingenious, and I wish all Arcade1Ups could do that. The games, 2 out of the 3 actually aren't bad. I can actually find some entertainment out of the second and third game. The first game is just horrible. It's boring. It runs poorly. And you know, I think all these games don't run really the best, but the second and third one are playable, where that first one honestly is just atrocious, and I would never touch that again after this review. But I'm debating what I should do with this. I don't know if I should keep it stock for when my newborn gets older and wants something to play, or there's a way that you can mod this and put 400 plus games in here and map all the buttons to here. So that's something I actually might do. I haven't modded any of my cabinets yet, so I think I might go that route. And if I screw it up, I mean, I only paid $10 for this, but it should be pretty straightforward. There's a micro SD card slot in here somewhere underneath the cover on the inside, where next to where the power goes. So I might do that. I don't know, but I definitely will probably make a follow-up video, actually, like, I don't want to say restoring this, but cleaning this up, taking the stickers off, cleaning up the screen, doing all that, and then probably modding it. I think that is the route I'm going to go one of these days when I actually have time. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit longer than normal. I had to do the whole story time in the beginning, so if you stuck through all the way to the end, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, share this video with your friends, and check out some of my other Arcade1Up videos that are popping up on the screen. And I think that's going to do it, so I'm going to get out of here. As always, guys, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys next time.